What's up, everybody? This is the inaugural episode of Dalty Cooks, this time on YouTube. Basically, during this whole quarantine, I have gotten incredibly bored and I need something to do. So I'm subjecting you to my cooking videos. Watch them if you like. If you don't, well, you should do it anyway. You don't have anything better to do, right? So, first episode, we're going to keep it real simple. We're going to make some crescent rolls. And without further ado, let's get right into it. So first things first, this is half cup of warmed water, a tablespoon of active dry yeast, and a teaspoon of sugar. This was all mixed together ahead of time. Just the first thing you do when you're starting this project. That'll give the yeast time to bloom, start eating some of that sugar, get nice and active. Then we're going to take 4 cups of flour right into the bowl. Third of a cup of sugar. I like to use the organic raw cane stuff. You can use whatever you want. This is half cup of warmed milk plus 1 egg. So the reason that we're adding all these warm ingredients is so the yeast can actively start working to proof that dough. They work slower at colder temperatures, so this just helps speed everything up. Next, we've got a half cup of softened butter. If you need to soften butter in a hurry because, you're filming a YouTube video and you forgot, you can always just break it up with your hands and then put it in the microwave for about 4 or 5 seconds at a time until it gets nice and soft. We're going to put all of this in a mixer and hit with a dough hook until we form a soft dough. Side note, if you don't have a stand mixer at home, you can do all of this by hand. I just have the mixer and I like being lazy, so I'm going to use it. Now that everything's starting to combine, we're going to go ahead and add in our yeast, water, sugar mixture. After mixing for a couple minutes, if it's still looking a little wet like this, you can always go ahead and add a little bit more flour in. Just kind of shake it right on top and continue mixing. All right, so after a few more minutes, this is what our dough looks like. And I'd like to say that I did add about another 1/4 cup of flour to that original mixture, just so I could get it to something that was more coherent and starting to pull away from the sides a little bit. Now what we're going to do is get our surface, lots of flour, not lots, but enough so it doesn't stick too much, and turn it out onto the surface. What we're going to do is just start to knead it. Now you want to make sure that this dough is still nice and soft, but we want to make sure that it also has a good enough gluten structure that it stays together. So right now, because of all that butter in there, it is just super, super soft. So let's try to keep it as moist as possible while also making sure that we can work it, because later it's going to get cut into strips and those will have to proof once they're rolled up, and we don't want it sticking to everything. So just do this for about 5 minutes or until you can get a nice smooth dough. So once we have it kneaded into a consistency that we like, it's still a little moist on the surface, but it's not sticking to the counter. It's not really sticking to my hands too much. It's starting to get kind of that nice, more uniform smoothness to it. We're just going to take it, twist it down so we're pushing, tucking under just like that every time. That'll build a little bit of surface tension. And then we can take this, put it back into a greased bowl, cover it with plastic wrap, and we're going to let that proof until it about doubles in size. Should take somewhere around 2 hours. All right, so it's been about an hour and a half, just covered with a little bit of plastic, and this has gotten nice, kind of doubled in size. Super soft, smells good. You can really smell that yeast now. So we're going to go ahead and turn this out onto the counter. We're going to start kind of punching it down. So a little bit more flour, so it doesn't stick too much. What we're going to do now is punch this down, and we're going to cut and roll out our shapes to form our crescent rolls, which will then proof a second time once they've been shaped up before going into the oven. So that makes sure that we get a nice, airy, fluffy, tender roll. All right, now that we have our dough out, we're gonna just kind of cut it in half. I think it's a little easier if you roll it out into sort of a rectangle or an oval, just to eyeball what half is. Cut it right down the middle. Make sure that the piece that you're not using, you're covering with a bit of plastic, which I kind of wadded up for some reason. There we go. All right, now we're going to roll this out into about a 12-inch or so square. Once you have it into your rough circle, we're at home, right? It doesn't really matter all that much. You can kind of form it into a rough circle if you want, but you know, who cares? This is just for quarantine. We'll get it about like that. Now we're gonna cut this like you would a pizza. I don't have any kind of pizza roller, so I'm using this knife, which is not that sharp. So I'm okay cutting it straight onto my counters, because I know that I'm not gonna do any damage. Like that, and then cut each one of these so you have little individual rectangles. Just like that. Now once we have a rectangle, we're going to take it. You can give it just a little light stretch. Lay it down, starting with the fat end. Roll it up. And there's your little kind of vaguely crescent shape. You can tuck in the sides a little bit, but let it sit on that point on your tray. So as it's proofing, it doesn't come unraveled. Just continue to do that with all of your crescent rolls until you've filled up your tray. And then we're gonna cover it with plastic wrap, let it rest for about 1 more hour, and then we'll get on to the actual baking of it. All right, we're almost at the end here with our crescent rolls. So as you can see, they've about doubled in size. I got a little better at rolling them towards the end there. It's my first time as well, so hopefully these work. Otherwise, what the hell am I showing you guys for? I have my oven preheated to 350 degrees. The alarm just went off. So we're gonna throw these bad boys in, and in about 10 or 12 minutes, we'll check them, look for, you know, golden brown color, and pull them out. All right, crescent rolls ready to come out, and they are looking tight. So let's check them. Woo. Hell yeah. Let these cool down for a few minutes, and then we'll get you a little view of the inside. Alrighty, so the crescent rolls are done. Sorry I'm a little red and sweaty. I just went out on a little walk around while these were cooling. So we're gonna cut into them, show you guys what they look like. So here they are, super nice. Still pretty warm. Kind of crushed it a little bit. So there you go. Super soft and tender. They just taste like a Thanksgiving buttery roll. You do get like a little bit of that spiral pattern from rolling them, which I'm definitely going to work on because that turned out to be the hardest part. But these are delicious. It's a good use of flour. It's something that people probably aren't making all that much at home. Everyone's on a sourdough kick or a white bread kick or something, but this is a different way to use it. Switch up your food a little bit during the quarantine. So hope you guys try it out.